Hi, everyone, and welcome to Co-Trend Watch, where we go behind the headlines of Co and dive into the trends that are shaping how entrepreneurs do business across America. I'm Ciara McGibbons, and I'm back with my colleague, Barbara Thau, for our next episode. Hi, Barbara. We're back.
Hello, we are back. Hi, C. So good to be here with you
I know. I'm so
again.
excited. Today, we're going to dive into 3 top trends that we've recently highlighted on Co. We'll be looking at how they're shaping the broader business landscape as well as what they mean for small businesses. Do you want to kick us off with the short overview of these 3 trends?
Yes. Okay. So we are going to be talking about redefining adulthood. This is a new definition of life stages, expanded life stages, and the opportunity for businesses, including small businesses. Then the rise of secondhand and resale, huge opportunity for businesses, large and small. And then using video for brand growth. So 3 big trends that have 3 meaty opportunities for businesses.
I love it. I always get so excited with these. Every trend always gets me so excited. Okay, so let's start with the redefining adulthood trend, or how it was cleverly referred to by a consultant in the story as the new young, which is what I really loved about that. So what are right?
Yes.
So what are we seeing these days when it comes to this disruption of the different age groups?
Perfectly put, that word disruption. That's so interesting and so exciting about this trend is that the new young in particular refers to the 55 plus crowd. And this redefinition of the notion of a midlife crisis to an expanded middle age of growth and renewal, not decline, that is part of the larger macro trend that you hinted at, which is this notion of the new adulthood. And we're talking about Gen Z to people in their 30s, millennials to their 60s and older, totally unshackling themselves for generational silos and stereotypes and expectations. And this idea of buying products and services that don't reflect how old they are necessarily, but who they are. We're seeing it from beauty products to travel. Think, millennials who craft like Miss Ciara, and kayaking baby boomers. It's a super incredible, important shift.
Absolutely. And I love how you mentioned the crisis thing because that's something that stuck out to me in the story too, that it's more of a redefinition and not a midlife crisis.
Absolutely, and I think it's so important, even the word crisis, like what are the factors driving this? We kinda have to talk about that to really understand it, and there were so many big factors, the macro picture. We had the pandemic. We also had consumers living longer, not just lifespans, but health spans. What do I mean by that? Living longer, healthier lives. And what's so amazing and interesting about this is it's not like trends don't just happen overnight. They unfold over years and time. But it was a tipping point of I got so excited I almost knocked over my microphone. A tipping point. Trend forecasters have said this is a huge opportunity for businesses.
Absolutely. I was going to say it's more about now people's inner identity and purpose rather than their age. I kind of wanted to segue that into my question to you of what small
Yes.
businesses can learn from this, in the way that they
Yeah.
market their products and the way they design their products.
It's a great question. And I think a lot of it just goes to, and I have to just quote this from a Mintel trend forecaster who said this. Brands need to remove cliches and think cross-generationally, embrace the muddiness, right? Who are we? Who are we? Who is Ciara? Who am I? Who is, Scott, our producer? Not how old we are. And there's so many ways to slice and dice the data, right? We have AI. Slice and dice the data differently in terms of who your consumer is.
Definitely. So let's segue into our next trend, which is another one that you and I have talked about before, the rise of secondhand and resale items. So we're seeing a huge rise in popularity of those things. And I'm curious if you could tell us why.
Yes, I mean, it's so interesting with this trend because it's moved literally from the margins to the mainstream. It's a $1 trillion business, resale, and people think of resale as fashion and, the sites like Poshmark and ThredUp, but it's expanded beyond fashion to consumer electronics, and then big brands are partnering with resale players to grow their business, and, the just very concrete reasons that it's kind of this this perfect storm of factors came together to lift this business. We have cost-conscious consumers in an inflationary environment, sustainably minded consumers, and are gravitated to secondhand goods. We have secondhand merchandise, and you and I were talking about this, has sort of shed its used goods stigma,
Yes.
and there's like a prestige element to them in many cases, and even, marketers are using the words like vintage, and and not even just in fashion, but in home, where there the notion of vintage home furnishings from a fancy estate sale. So, and then the other factor is, amid these giant supply chain challenges, businesses are finding this, wait, this is a really good model. This is essentially a tariff-free model when you're not sourcing from overseas. But what we're seeing is interesting, like smaller businesses are also leaning into the expertise and the certification. So, for example, there's a business called K Camera. Our producer Scott might know it. It is 46-year-old business that started out as a catalog. Do you remember when they were catalogs? And pivoted to, e-commerce, and their sweet spot is their authenticators. We have these experts who are certifying the merchandise, they're warrantying the merchandise. There's also photography experts who are advising high-end professional cameras. They are now a $100 million business.
What do you think retailers or product-based businesses should be paying attention to right now? What can they take away from this?
Where it makes sense in the business, where resale makes sense in the business, be it apparel, be it non-apparel, be it home goods. What do I do with my excess inventory? Just asking that question and see where those opportunities might be.
Definitely. That's great. So, our third and final trend of the day is about using video for brand growth, as we're sitting here recording a video. And we're going to talk about
Yes.
how important video is for brands and why. So, do you want to start to dive into that?
Sure. So I was thinking about this. So video is really the modern day currency of storytelling, right? What do I mean by that? We are living in the digital visual economy. Consumers are constantly consuming, yeah, taking in product videos or taking in customer testimonials, their user-generated content, they're on TikTok, uh, Instagram, Facebook. It's this consumption of video content. Case in point, YouTube is literally somehow this blew my mind, dominant media platform, exceeding all of TV, all broadcast, all traditional media. Video has become critical for businesses to drive business, to get their marketing messages out. And what we're seeing new platforms, well, not really so new anymore, but we're seeing YouTube, Vimeo, and this hot new that I know you're already bought stuff on it, Whatnot, live streaming. They're democratizing video creation for small businesses, and they're also making it easy to sell with the help of AI.
Let's dive a little bit more into the AI piece because I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah,
So basically, from what I understood
yeah.
in the story, is that AI is basically um, prioritizing, when they do their AI answers, businesses that have videos, on their web pages and things like that. Am I correct in that?
You're absolutely right. The LLMs, the AI platforms are prioritizing video content. So if you wanna be discovered as a business or a brand, that's a big deal. You need to be on video in some way. There's that, and then the traffic. Discoverability on these platforms is key at this point.
Okay. I mean, I was going to say, what do you think small businesses can take away? But I feel like that's pretty much it. Start with these
Right?
videos, right? Okay. Well, this was great. For everyone listening, you can check out all of these trends on Co. We'll link the stories that we referred to in this episode. Thanks, everyone.